Hello there guys, welcome back. I'm just going to go quickly here through a methodology in how to use ZBrush in order to improve your retopologizing process. As you already know, there are two ways to, in the labs that we have, how to retopologize your characters. We have the way of doing using Maya, the quad draw tools, and just well you can use the Topogun software as well that we have there available for you guys if you want to. And what I'm going to show you is a little bit of a technique that I normally use for exporting pieces from here, from ZBrush, and then bringing back into Maya, so you can actually, make instead of just putting everything together, like doing everything from scratch, you can take some chunks and then just use them instead of just doing everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take what I've done here. I just got the model, which is already prepared. I just got all this tool, but I got this is a tool that is all merged. And if I have a look at this, you can see that this is already being pre-prepared by using the ZRemesher master. So you can see here, it's a single shell, and it has already been run by the ZRemesher master. You know how to use the ZRemesher master. There are some tutorials on how to use that in YouTube. If you go here, set plugin, you can just go into the ZRemesher master. You hit pre-process current, and then you just decimate it based on the percentage and then decimate current. Okay. So what I've done is you do that, and you take this and then you just export it. Export as an OBJ, and then that's it. So what you do is you can just go into I'm gonna go back into Maya, which I have open in the background, and then I'm gonna go here and I'm going to bear with me guys, there's about 3 screens. So I'm gonna go here and just gonna go into import. I'm just going to open the tab there, which will open the screen. I'm going to go into desktop, and I think here you should use, we'll do it again with the settings, import settings, OBJ, make sure that this is all in a single object. If you keep multiple objects, what it means is that if you have several polygroups inside ZBrush, then they all will be different in the outliner. So it will be like, I don't know, 3 polygroups, there will be 3 pieces of geometry here, and you can just merge them together later on. So here you put single object and you import that. I already saved that, the one that I exported from ZBrush. So here is this one is called test high res. And pretty much what I've done here, I just took this guy, go here into export, and then I just export it here on the desktop, and it's this one here, test high res. Just that. It's the decimated one, which is 900,000 polygons. So I select this guy. Then here, you see it's very small. If you want, you can scale him up a little bit. It's easy for you to select. But you have to make sure that if you scale it here, when you bring it back into Maya, into ZBrush, you have to rescale it down as well to whatever you have. So the other thing you can do is just, before you export it from ZBrush, you can just go here into export and tell them that the scale is, I don't know, 50. You put 50 here, so when you bring it back into Maya, it should be 50 times bigger. So that's another way of doing it. Here it's a bit tricky because you might mess up the scale that people can get tricky. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this guy, and you know the procedure. You take this guy, you make a live, then you go into this tool, and you get quad draw, and then you start, drawing your character. You press shift, there, and then so forth. You know the procedure for this. If you want to do things like the ear, which are very tricky to do, then you can just make use of things like the ZRemesher that I told you. So what you do is, it's pretty straightforward. What you do is you just go into here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to isolate some chunks in here. So I'm going to get this. I'm going to reduce the brush size. Here it is. The moment this is a single mesh being decimated, so if I don't want to destruct what I'm working on, I'm going to take this guy, which is the one I'm working at the moment. I'm just going to duplicate it. Okay. And when I duplicate it, when I duplicate it, that's the one I'm going to be working with. That's the solo at the moment. That's the only one visible at the moment. You can see the other one. I mean, just make a copy of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a chunk, let's say the ears. So I'm going to reduce the brush size. I'm going to press Control, and I'm just going to paint the ears. Okay, so I'm going to press Control, and I'm just going to paint this in here. Okay. got pretty much this mask out. I'm gonna press reduce the brush size. I'm gonna press Control. Oops. Control, and then just get rid of this. So there are many ways of doing this, guys. So you will know how to use it. So I'm gonna do that, and I'm just gonna press X to get rid of the symmetry. I'm gonna press Control. I'm gonna go here into oops, not that. I'm gonna press Control. Go here into the lasso. And I'm just gonna press Control, Hold, and just get rid of this. So I have only one selected. So probably could have just used. Let me do this again. So let's just do it like this. It's easier. Yeah. Actually no, because I have to put in one inside. That's fine. We can press this Alt. Just get rid of this if I want to. Anyway, whatever you're gonna do, you're just gonna get a selection. However you want to do it. So I'm gonna take this guy. I'm gonna go into polygroups and I'm gonna say group mask. And now I have a group just for this. So I'm gonna press Control Shift, click on this guy. Oops, I'm just gonna take this guy as well. I didn't pull it out. So that's doesn't matter, I can delete that in there. So I say auto group, so I get that group there. And again, I'm gonna press Control Shift, click again, Control Shift this, okay. And the other one was hidden, and I'm just gonna go here to geometry, modify topology, and I can say get it hidden. Now I only have that, the ear, so I don't have to do the other side because it's gonna be the same. So it does okay here. It's just that it's not drawing the inner part, and you can do that by just going to display properties and you say double, and then you go. That's the inner part there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ZRemesher this, so I can export it into Maya and then use it whatever I'm working on. So what you do, you take this guy, go into geometry, go here into edge loops, okay, and then in group loops, reduce the polish to I don't know 1 or something. Okay, you can just type there. Press 1, enter. And then the group loops, you put I don't know 2 loops, and then just group them. And then well, it doesn't do much, but you just add a little bit of a poly edge here. So when you do the ZRemesher, it really helps. So you go here, and then you go into ZRemesher, and you tell them I want, I don't know, whatever, 3,000 polygons, and then you just ZRemesher that, okay, and it gives you this. You can see it, and you can tell them, okay, I want half of that. Okay, that's fine. You see, doing this stuff in Maya probably will take you a little bit of time, but you can just say, okay, maybe this is a good candidate. Let's give it another half and see what happens. That's fine. Let's keep it like that. Okay, but you can just produce it much better if you want. So what you do, you take this, you now export this. I got it here already, but I'm gonna replace it, and not something like that. It's in the desktop. I got ears, and I'm gonna save, replace it. Okay, now I'm gonna go back to Maya. Okay, and in Maya, let's imagine that you have more of these developed. I don't know, half of the face or whatever. You just can't be bothered to do that. So what you do is you take this, okay, and do that. And it's gonna go here into where you press W. So you're going back to, you're pretty much coming out from the quad draw. So now you have pretty much geometry there. You press here, 4. You see you're still in the magnetic reference. You just uncheck this button and you know that this is what you have. You can see this is the geometry you're working on. So I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into the outline and I'm just gonna hide the high res for now. This is too much. So as you see, this is what you're working on. Let's say you have a bit more geometry. So now what you do is you just go into File, okay, go into File, and then go into Import Options, and then again OBJ single object, import that. It comes on my other screen. Bear with me. And in here, just go into desktop and you just import those ears. Import that. You can see that right there where they should be. Now you select these two, go into mesh, you combine them. When you do that, you go here into custom, you press history. So I delete the history, so there's only a single mesh. I'm gonna bring that guy again, press H. You can see it matches exactly. So I take this guy, make it live again, take my geometry, and then what I do is I click on point draw, and you can see I can continue working. And all this stuff was done in ZRemesher. You don't have to do it. Now, if you want to modify, you can just press B. Go into self modification tool. At the moment, it's too big. The stamp. You select one. It's too big. You see. So what you do is you just go into the tool here. Make sure you are in W because you are in moving. So you can do it. Setting que van out of Windows. Do that. So the moment is because I am in quadro. Okay, so what I do is I'm gonna press W to go back to just normal W from Maya, so just moving stuff around. Select this guy. Okay, if you press B, if you select one vertex, you can see you press V. The stamp is huge. That's why it's encompassing everything. So you can just press B, click and drag, and then you can keep going down and it's getting smaller. But it could be too. The moment it's huge is because we are working in a character that's too small, and the model is way too small. So in order to do that, what you do is the moment you're not in quad draw, you're just in normal, Maya draw. So you go into vertex, and you go one selected, but this is you want to move everything. You gotta move everything. So you don't want that. Okay, that's because you have the magnetic on. So what you do is you go into the tools, and here where it says soft selection, this is a stamp. See, it's too big. Look at this number, how it goes down. So I press B, click and drag. This number keep going down, but you can see it's way too big still. So I have to keep going. So either you put just a very low number here and see how it goes. And this is always going to be relative to whatever you're working on. If you're working on a character that is big enough, then you don't have to do this. It will be right there for you. But because we didn't take care of the scale, I want to put something very small. You can see there by 0.06 unit in Maya, then you give me something missing, which is this stamp. So I'm okay with that. So I'll select this guy again. I'm gonna go into quadro, and then when I select one guy, you see the stamp remains. And now I can press B and make it smaller. You can see. Okay, and then I can just, if I want to readjust, I can readjust things around that. It's nice, and all the things will be automatically conform to whatever you have working on because you have the magnetic on. You see, and you can see all this stuff here. You'll be like, oh man, doing all this stuff is too much. At the moment, this is probably too much, too many polygons. But you can just easily go into Maya and then select groups, delete them, and then when you bring them back in, you do this submodification. As soon as you move them, it will snap. It will snap back to the shape. You can see it conform with the shape automatically. So that is how you pretty much, and then you can do it. Then once you have this more, the better. Then you can just find a way to connect these two guys together. Well, the moment I left it like that, but that should be probably less. Half of that should be like half of whatever you're doing. So I'm gonna go back to here to set brush, and I'm just gonna try to do another piece. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hide this guy. I'm gonna take this, and then I'm going to duplicate it again. Okay, and I'm just gonna move it down a little bit so this. If I want, I can delete this if I want to. So, but for now, I'm gonna take just this, and then I'm gonna frame it so I can see guys, and then I'm gonna say, okay, I'm gonna use this leg, one leg, okay, and then I'm gonna select symmetry, so I can just press Control. I mean lasso. So I'm just gonna lasso this down like this, like that. Okay. Oh, I forgot to get rid of the symmetry. Let me get rid of symmetry first. Okay. Again, I'm just gonna do this like that. Press Control. And I lasso this like that. Take this guy. Okay. It's normalizing. Just take this bit there. So I'm gonna press Control. Press Hold. Oops. Like that. Again. Control. Hold. Get rid of that. And you can refine them more, but let's leave it like that for now. Okay, so I got this guy. Okay, I'm just gonna take this. I'm going to create a polygroup in there. Go to the polygroups. You see everything is a single polygroup, but when you go here into polygroup, you say group mask, and you create a polygroup there. By doing that, you press Control Shift, clicking this. The rest is hidden. Then you can just go here into geometry, and then you go here into modify topology, and so then delete hidden. And you can see now that everything is gone. So we just got the leg now. Again, same as before. We take this dude, go into geometry. We go into modify topology. edge loops. Again, this is, we say already, polish too high. You can put it in 1 so it doesn't change much of the geometry. Polygroup if you want to is enough, and you tell them to group loops. And all what it does, if you zoom in here, it just creates like a little nice edge here. You can see that's before. If you do ZRemesher like this, it could work, but sometimes it gives you a cleaner. ZRemesher works better if you have some cleaner on the edges. So it's gonna be a group loop. You can see it just gave you that. And then by reducing the G polish will not allow you to change drastically the actual shape. So once you do that, then you go back into ZRemesher, and then here you tell them I want 5,000. Let's see what happens. And then you set ZRemesher. Then that goes through. Once that's finished, then you should have something that you can work on. I mean, this is obviously things like normally when I have a character, what I normally do now is I only do ZRemesher. I only retopologize things like the face and the hands, and the feet, but the rest is like the big, like the limbs and stuff. Just give you a very good, you see, very clean geometry already. You look, even this. So I'm gonna get half of this, you know, and then you put another half. That'll be 2,000. Another half. Okay. And then probably yes, here you can start struggling, but you can probably reuse this bit from here till here, for example. If you want, you can reuse some of this bit. I done it for the upper body, but then obviously you use this if this works for you. If it's too much, then you can just, if you can't be bothered to do all this, you can just take a chunk and then just do it and bring it back into Maya, and then you do that. But here probably the thing, one of the toes is on my work. This is a bit too drastic, so it depends because the character is too complicated. This character I haven't done it really for a game, but mostly for film. So let's say this is what you want. Then you go here and you just take export, and again I'm gonna go into desktop, and I'm just gonna call this you name it however you want it. Just gonna call it egg. Okay, I'm gonna save it, minimize this, going back to Maya again. I come out from I go in B. I'm gonna get rid of B, so I'm in some modification tool again. I select this guy. Now I go, you select this, then you press W, and then you just go out temporarily from Quadro. So with this guy selected, I'm gonna take this. I'm just gonna hide it. H. And I'm gonna take this. You're gonna go here into, let's get rid of this magnetic just in case it was a mess up. So I'll take this. You see that at the moment it's a single piece of geometry. I'm gonna go into File, Import again, OBJ, single object. And I'm gonna go and import that leg. We'll go here, leg, import. You can see it matches perfectly. So I'll take these two guys again, mesh, combine them. Now it's a single mesh. I'm gonna showcase this guy. You can see it matches perfectly. Then I'll take this, make it live again. Select now the geometry. You see it's all together. And then while I go into Quadro, it continues. So now I have the ability to continue working here. And then if I'm not happy with this arrangement here, I can probably select select one of these and press B, and then press B, click and drag, so I can increase the stamp or the influence, the radius influence. And then when I move it, you see I can move things around a little bit. And this will automatically conform to the shape because it's already been done as a magnetic, basically magnetic option. So you can see this one at the moment is losing a lot of the detail, but as soon as you touch it, look what happened when I touched it, how it conformed automatically. Because obviously we did half of this, half of that several times, so you will lose the original shape. So when you do this, look what you see what happened. Look at that. As soon as I touch it, because it's magnetic, one bit, even I can reuse this. I can press B, click and drag. See if I do this. As soon as I touch it, it automatically clicks and everything snaps. The same here. See? They save you a ton of work, man. It's gonna save you a ton of work. Obviously, at the moment, this is just not always gonna be 100% because it's quite complicated here. But you can reuse. For example, if you're not happy with it, you can just delete this bit. You can, if you don't like one bit, like it's simple. You just go here. you get out of this, select this, and just get rid of this. But you can manipulate it. You get rid of the magnetic for a bit. Then you go into here. I can hide it if you want, so it's easier. So I can just let me show you. And she said, well, the post didn't really work for me, so I'm gonna do it on take face. I'm gonna press B to get rid of self modification. If I click here and double click, then you recognize the loop. And then I delete that. Click this, delete it. And then if I like the rest, I kept the rest, and then I continue. I take this guy. I'm gonna show this guy again, H. I'm gonna make it visible, sorry, magnetic. Select this guy, go back in, oops, no, not the one. Go back into Quattro, and I can continue. Now let's get rid of the geometry so you can see clearly. Again, you can see that now I managed to reuse all this bit. Example here, it gave me a little bit of a mess. So, but like I said before, you select one, press B. Let's press B, click and drag. And then as soon as you touch it, it will snap. Or not. And here, it's maybe because it doesn't know where to go. Maybe here. Probably you can. If you want to fix things like this, you can probably do is get rid of the magnetic, go back to this dude, Control 1 to do this, and then if you want to smooth things out, you can go into the sculpt tools, and then one of these one are lift surface, smooth surface in a mesh, the smooth surface in a mesh which will change the original shape. This one, smooth surface. And if you do that, you press click and drag. The stamp is too big at the moment. If you press B, click and drag, you can make the stamp small. B, click and drag. Again, you have to go into the tool set, and in the stamps here, there's the size is too big, so I think something smaller like 0.1. That's because we're working a very small. You see, now you can see it. So again, you press B, click and drag, you can make it even smaller. And then when you're in here, you can just only smooth out this bit. You see, I smooth this out. And again, when you press W, go back to this guy. The way I hit the rest was Control 1. I press Control 1 again, and I bring back everything again. When you want to show something in the viewport, you press Control 1. It's isolate. Control 1, and you bring that one again. So I have this. I'll take this guy, make it live again. Take this, Quattro, and it's fixed. You see, and as soon as I move stuff around, and the reason it struggled a little bit because there's a little bit of a fall here. You see, a little bit of a fall. You see, for as long as I touch it, then you can never fall. Yeah, you see, it's not. But here it means that you need to, in order to avoid this, what you have to do is you have to go here and then create extra loops, and then probably I can't remember how to create the loops. So extra loops is click drag those, drag and click component. Click H to insert loop. This is control middle mouse. So control middle mouse. There you go. And then just click here, and you can see as soon as I put a loop there, it conforms much better with the original shape. Okay. And again, if you press this, you can start moving things out. But anyway, this is just because it doesn't go enough geometry. So and again, if you want, you can just delete one section and then another one, and then obviously not always gonna give you a good solution, but it's a good starting point for you guys. So you can just crack on with this. You know, so you can just move stuff around a little bit. That's how I do the characters very quickly. The only thing that I invest time is in retopologising the face and ears like that to get it like that done. And then this stuff, obviously, because it's too complicated, I don't think it will give you. ZRemesher will give you something decent. Probably can give you something that is really high res, and you can just bring it to mine and then delete the loops in mine, and then start from there if you want to. Anyway, whatever you choose, it will always save you a little bit of time. So yeah, so this is what I want to show you guys. This is the way to, if you can save time for retopologizing your characters, you don't have to invest tons of work doing your characters. So I'm gonna upload this video on YouTube and then put the link on the week list now, week 1, and then you should be able to next week, guys, start having a look. When you have a look at your work, and then hopefully we can just start working on a few of the concepts of joints and things like that inside Maya. We'll try to record that class as we teach it, so it's already for you, so you can review it later on. If that is not the case, then I will make notes and then I will record at some other point, because I think I have 3 screens and open broadcast gets a little bit confusing, especially because I got a graphic tablet. Then I have to go back to Maya, use the keyboard and the mouse, and I think it's proven to be quite problematic at the moment. For example, like a minute ago, Maya stopped working, just didn't want to do any changes, so I have to move the Maya to another screen, and then it started working, and then move it back to this screen. So it's not ideal, but I'm trying to do my best here. So anyway, so once you have this ready, then you can just export it, and you have your low res. Okay, that's if you want to retopologize. You should have, guys, a character by now already retopologized. You done. You had the opportunity last year to do a couple of them, so you should. And Sama. So okay, guys, that's it for now. Thank you very much, and I'll see you around, guys. Bye bye.